West Nile TV. May you dare ingamwa.
Welcome to the Whistle Time, and yet again, good afternoon to you, the viewers. It's another big edition of the Whistle Time with a couple of stories running on the desk. Lukaku Football Club already off for, that is, their pre-season trainings, and they have taken this time round the session to Kampala, and a lot that is also happening in the Arua Hill Sports Club camp, where of course some of the players have again been released and others have got in greener pastures, according to the information reaching the Whistle Time right there. But of course all this will be talked about right here now. Uganda had a very big game yesterday, and where you did see them having a 0-0 draw against Mali. All this will be coming, but internationally, very good news for Arsenal Football Club ahead of the game that will be coming against Norwich City. My name is Owen, and it's the Whistle Time. But of course, I'm not alone in the studios of West Nile TV. I am with my usual brother. I'm talking about Oscar, the Brazilian. Most welcome, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been, of course, a hectic weekend. Some people say it's a boring weekend without EPL and other games, but it's been a wonderful one to me.
A very big one, and of course a wonderful one. You did see the international break, where of course a couple of players have got in to the play, and at the same time some have been affected. Talk about Romelu Lukaku, who is already being said engaged in an injury, and that could be a very bad news for team Chelsea Football Club. But let's leave that there. Start it at home and in West Nile and the Uganda Premier League, where of course one of the biggest story broke in the day. Of course it is not yet official, but of course it is one thing that is already there, because different sources have spotted a player like Muhammad Shaban already in the training camp of Uganda Football Club. He traveled to with Uganda in Kampala, and he is of course so much into the club. According to an insider, he has started trainings with Uganda Football Club. Now Shaban is back to, that is, the Green Armies. I'm talking about the Caterpillar in there. What exactly will he bring to Uganda? Look about his move at a critical time where Uganda had gone very silent.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to have Muhammad Shaban back to Uganda Football Club. But again, one thing to me, Muhammad Shaban can't do it alone. Who are those other signings that will make Muhammad Shaban the player that we all saw that he was at Team Uganda? You had very creative players like Gaddafi Gadino in that team. You had the likes of Patrick Mbowa in that very team. You had people like Gaddafi Wahab also still in that team. So right now I tend to wonder who are those ones who are going to be complementing what he's going to be doing, because by then you had the likes of I thought Bida came afterwards. You had the likes of Gao in that very team. So the team had played together. And this time around, Muhammad Shaban coming, of course we're hearing the likes of Baden coming into the team. I'm not quite sure who is that creative player maybe they're going to have in that team. At one point, some people were actually, rumors was circulating that Uganda might actually become another dumping ground for Arua Hill Soccer Club, because most of the players were eyeing going there. But the issue of Muhammad Shaban at $20,000 US is a lot of money. And in my sane mind, I don't think that there is any club that can splash $20,000 US in a Ugandan league to buy a player. I completely disagree with the media reports that Muhammad Shaban was bought at 75 million Ugandan shillings. I completely disagree, and I have my reasons. Because one, you can't tell me a team like Uganda can splash 75 million on a single player and yet they were struggling to pay 14 players who they just released. Up to now, their arrears have not been cleared. So where did Olubaraka get that 75 million to splash on one single player?
They have Ababet.
Another Ababet gave them 600 million, 625 million, and that money is supposed to be spread across 3 seasons. Just 1 season gone, 2 more seasons remaining. That was not a very, very good deal that could excite anybody. By the time that they had a previous sponsor that I may not be at liberty to mention, was giving them 600 million per season, and that very sponsor was actually in charge of their dressing, give them training kits, give them all their jerseys, and they were to be made from outside. It was actually the best outfit I've ever seen from any club that was sponsored, that was actually given by that very sponsor. But now, 75 million, I get to wonder. My other argument is, how do you give a player 75 million? How do you pay 75 million to the parent club Vipers, and this player is coming only for 1 year? Cristiano Ronaldo resigned for Manchester United at for 2 years.
Yes.
And still that makes sense to me that he has 1 season to 2 seasons to play. So you can't tell me Olubaraka paid 75 million to sign Muhammad Shaban, and they only gave him a contract of 1 year. That doesn't make sense. And again, if he shines in the next 6 months, he's free to negotiate with any club, and the club that can sign him in Ugandan League is Team Vipers. So I don't think it makes any sense. And according to my investigations, Olubaraka only paid 25 million. So I'm not carried away by media reports that Olubaraka paid 75 million. I totally disagree.
Yeah, if you look at that, a very big one. And still, I want to talk about the Shaban Saga. Let's look at, we have talked about already the time frame, how clubs will be coming. Before, rumors had it that there are some clubs that were involved in this action.
True.
And this club were some of the clubs that really need this player in a way that this player has to come and settle with the home club, because others believe maybe it is a curse from the home people. And now, this time around, Shaban, 1 year, media reports or the local papers say it is 75 million.
20,000,
and which is, if you look at that, you will see that although you go where? Right now, it will never happen.
It's not practical.
Shaban is coming to Olubaraka. One thing you will say, maybe you would want to look into is, if Shaban shines or comes back on form, what is that you are going to get out of Shaban? So that is where the other clubs had to come in. But now let's look at this very factor. Mohamed Shaban has come into the team. He has boosted the team, because I'm seeing already fans looking for the replica jerseys because they watch the Shaban thing. Who are those midfielders you are going to see that will come and make Shaban score those goals? Because yes, he's still a young player, we've known, but he has not got that playing time at Vipers. In a 2 season, he has like scored 2 to 3 goals.
Actually,
What about
2 goals.
What about now coming to Olubaraka? Vipers has everything. They have the creativity, they have everything. Who are those players we think Olubaraka has to put on board? Because if you look at the last season's midfielders, most of them were released, and then others who are left there, you can't really rely on them that they will give all these assets. Jaga Yembe, talk about the likes of Gibson, who is there. Will they do the right things to make Gaddafi Gadino, the man Shaban, really prosper at Olubaraka Football Club?
Well, I don't know for now which players are actually available, because we'll talk about them, but the other question would be, are these players readily available? I would think, to me, the best team Olubaraka had assembled and failed to win anything was under Asaf Mebazin. That was the most complete team Olubaraka has ever had. You had the likes of Abel in that team. You had the likes of Gaddafi Gadino in that team. You had, of course, by then Caesar was still left in that very team. They brought the likes of Agandu in that team. Kosha was still in that team. Um, Several other, Rashid Mahmoud was still in that team, one of the best central defenders for me this country has actually ever seen. He's now plays with Police. Looking at the players available right now, the likes of Gibson Adino, the likes of Damiambe Joel, Coco Makosa has been released, so he's nowhere closer to that team. I thought the other player Onduparaka would have gone for, to me, would be Choka Julius. He was formerly with Paida. He was one of the most talented players I've actually ever come across. This region still has him, but unfortunately now he has signed for Team Calvary. I really don't think right now there are players available, because you would think of bringing back the likes of Gaddafi Gadino, but Arua Hill has not released him. Otherwise, Onduparaka would have been ready to actually to accommodate him. Gaddafi Wahab is back with Arua Hill. So right now, players who are available, that means Onduparaka have to dig deep to go and buy players. The likes of Ibrahim Saddam Juma, he has completely vanished off the scene. This could be the time for him to come back home. It was only at the time of Province that people got to realize that he's actually somebody from West Nile. Also, you could go and get players from what would happen if they even went to compete to go in the central and bring players. To me, I would look at let them break the bank and first of all get Ibrahim Saddam Juma for me. That would be good. Let them still bring back Gaddafi Gadino. I still trust that he can do something. But the whole point is, does Onduparaka have the money? Now, talking about the superstition, there's that bizarre superstition that the way Muhammad Shaban left. Onduparaka wasn't good. So people cried, people mourned, and that's why Muhammad Shaban can't perform. And I believe that's partly one of the reasons why Muhammad Shaban is coming back to Onduparaka, so that people can be happy with him again and he goes outside there and performs. But I think, to me, there's one hidden agenda between Onduparaka and Vipers. Arua Hill came with about 200 million. Vipers, in fact, when Arua Hill wanted him, Vipers said they want 200 million. That's why it became too hard for them.
Of course, not only Arua Hill, even Sports, even Uganda with the same.
So they had to actually back off. Now, 200 million, Vipers refuses. 75 million,
Vipers,
according to media reports, Vipers accepts. But literally, I think it's not that is the 75 million. But I think the underlying factor for me is that I think Vipers is playing a game. Vipers Molindo wants Onduparaka to come back. In fact, Shaban to come back to Onduparaka, please the fans.
And he gets him back.
Shines, and then after 6 months, of course, Shaban will be ready to discuss with any other team. And the first team that Onduparaka can think of selling Shaban to is Vipers. I think there's that interconnection, that there's something that they don't want to put out in the media, but I believe that Muhammad Shaban is an Onduparaka player who has just come on loan.
Okay, let's look at that. One of the biggest things is Onduparaka right now, just like I did tell you, they're in Kampala, and they were set to remember the deadlines for the registration are today, and that is when you need to have fully registration. And Onduparaka Football Club have been without a head coach, and now, of course, on the scene, we have been, yesterday Onduparaka was supposed to register, but of course, luckily enough, Onduparaka had engagement, FUFA had engagement with the Uganda national team, and it failed. And according to the reports that came through to the Whistle Time, indicated that Dudu Bosco was supposed to be the head coach of Onduparaka Football Club, but something that went, of course, in there, and the deal did not go because Dudu has the qualification. Now, reaching on the desk right now indicates that Onduparaka Football Club yesterday had a very good negotiation with a head coach. Right now, of course, whom we will not unveil or unleash to you until when it's confirmed, but they had an agreement and the paperwork is done for Onduparaka, and they will be having a new head coach now, not to do just like how it had come in there. But of course, if it was to do, how would it sound for Calvary Football Club? How would it be like for Onduparaka Football Club? Dudu as the head coach of Onduparaka Football Club. And then of course Calvary, he still, if you see him move, he still says he is also still into the team of Calvary. So how would that bring in contradiction?
Well, I'm aware that Onduparaka contracted Dudu Bosco as a scout for 2 months. He has been signing. You know, it is very easy to know that Dudu Bosco is going to have a hand anywhere in any club. For me, because I have known him for some time, just because of the signings he goes for. You look at the likes of Baden; these are players he has been working with. Now Mohamed Shaban is coming back. There's some names now. I will not be Agao Rashid. I will not be surprised. These are players he nurtured. He worked with them at Arua Central Football Club before he actually crossed to Paida and before he went to South Sudan and actually came back. Now getting him that gig of 2 months, to me I started wondering, was it even professional enough? Because Dudu is a technical director at Calvary Football Club, and again, you are being contracted by another club who at one point can be your competitor in the league, because you can play. There are chances you can play in Uganda Cup. You are actually being contracted to go and look for players for this club. I don't know whether there are some rules that allow, but I was just thinking aloud. I was just thinking, was this professional enough? Maybe also Onduparaka ran out of options, because who was that they could zero down on? Somebody whom they could rely on. Again, I started wondering, because at one point, the number one enemy of Onduparaka was Dudu Bosco. He was number one enemy of Onduparaka. Why? Because of Shaban. When Shaban terminated his contract to go to KCCA, everyone accused Dudu, because he was contracted as a scout as well for KCCA,
by then.
and that's how the deal actually brokered, and he went to KCCA, Muhammad Shaban, the man in which he went, which is being protested up to now. Later on, things turned out the other way. Now he's been contracted to look for players for Team Onduparaka. The PRO came here who were asking, how do you start signing players when you don't know your head coach? They had a plan. And I think if it was not frustrated by FUFA, Dudu would have been the head coach. Now, the question comes in for me. I have not really seen a rebuilding process that I love Dudu, I respect him, I know that he has been in this game for a long time. But honestly speaking, I have not seen Dudu take a team and the team rebuilds a team and the team stands strong and you can count on that team for the future. Look at Paida. How long did it take Paida? I think the longest team Dudu has served in was Arua Central. Yes, he brought those players, the Gift Allies. Monday, he brought Monday by then was with Vara, was playing with the Joffrey. He's brought him from there to Arua Central. The likes of Lewin Peach also played there. But I didn't see much from Arua Central. Arua Central only got in that brand of playing a very good football, but the results did not come that much for me. So I honestly think Dudu is a very good coach who can actually groom players, but the players can succeed elsewhere, to me.
Okay, that is how exactly Dudu Bosco's deal, probably I could say, has failed. Maybe it has not failed, but of course it's going to be one of the biggest things in there. Now, that is one big story, but we'll be coming back to give you about Arua Hill Sports Club, of course, still our own in West Nile. What exactly is happening in Arua Hill Sports Club? Of course, I did tell you the club is doing trainings behind closed doors, and of course, the media has been banned from covering the training sessions. But of course, a lot of things have come out as, of course, I talk right now. One of their number one goalkeepers, Anyama Richard, is one name who has, of course, taken a move off from the training camp to seek for a greener pasture. We're coming back to discuss about Arua Hill Sports Club, but stay hooked to West Nile TV, and it's the whistle time.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Yes, welcome back from that break, and we have still this very story running in there, as Arua Hill Sports Club is the club that we want to talk about in just a few minutes time and see how exactly the team is doing in there. They have had a lot of friendly matches and they are doing good in the friendly matches or the pre-season training sessions in there, and the team is under, of course, a very big technical team that is trying much to see that the boys adapt to the weather and acclimatize to the environment, and at the same time probably do the best in the coming season. Now, remember, we are live on channel 477 on the Start Times, and at the same time we are live on we stream you live. You can stream us live on, that is the West Nile TV YouTube channel, and on the Facebook platform, and the Twitter handle is at West Nile TV. You will always get all the updates of every program and every story that pops right here. I still remain Owen, and I still have Oscar, the Brazilian. But let's start with this at Arua Hill Sports Club, where you did see the day on Monday some players were released. One of them is Yakini. Two, you have the man that brought in Ikita from Arua Soccer Academy. Now, they have also a player by the names of Calvin, who has not really played for Arua Hill since he came in there. He has been in the junior team, then from the junior team he was promoted to the senior team in the big league, but he had some paperwork issues that could not help him do much. So that affected him some time back. But this time around, he is one player whom the coach has said is not in his plans. And this player, rumors have it that he will be also crossing over to Duparaka Football Club. Now, leaving that there, Anyama Richard is one player who has left the camp yesterday and is in Kampala trying to make a move away. And according to the reports also coming from an insider, indicates that Anyama is being linked with a Zambian club. How good would that be for Anyama Richard?
Well, I think it will be a good thing for him, first of all, to try his luck. Anyama, I appreciate him for one thing. If it's about loyalty, he's one of those very loyal players. You would hardly see him pick up fights. It's not controversial. But on the other side, I think the challenge with Arua Hill really presented very good, I think, for him, because being voted, I think, goalkeeper of the season.
Yes.
The big league, I think that one sold him a lot. But I think some of the names that have tried their luck in the Zambian league and have not so much made it. At one point, we had Joseph Ochaya. He went there. He didn't so much impress. He now went back to, right now he's with Tukuza Mazembe. I think that experience that we've really had is not that so good, especially for us. Well, it's also be a good thing for him. He should go and knowing that there is that history that has always been there, but you can always fight it. You always put your spirited performances, and once you sign, of course, it comes with the fee. You have some money that you're going to actually earn, but at the end of the day, the money should actually correspond to your appearances. You should be able to earn appearances and, of course, a challenge for the better. He has been in the West Nile for some time. I thought maybe he would leave and go to the Central, but if he has got an opportunity to go outside, it's a good thing for him. But the other thing is that can he be able to cope up with the challenge that will be coming ahead? Remember, at one point I was following Alan Okello. I think in one of his interviews he said if he has a dream of playing in Europe, but he knows that to play in Europe, if you are to go to North Africa, that is where your chances of playing in Europe is actually higher, because the level at which that competition is, when you cross over, you don't even need to go for a trial, because when clubs from Europe come to spot you from there, they come when they already know that you are a material that can actually play for them. So I think Anyama as well, he may not be at that state in North Africa, but I think the challenge is good enough for him right now. I think Uganda Cranes doesn't have a reliable goalkeeper they can actually think of. I think they're still playing up and about with the likes of Ismail Ortega, the likes of Jamal. But one thing I know in common with the Ugandan players, when they leave the Ugandan league, they always struggle for game playing time. The likes of I think Abdul Mala is trying his best, but if you look at the likes of Derek Sibambi, you look at this one who was at Vipers, at KCCA, and went. He was released from the camp by Micho. He played
even recently. Mia was also, though he had some playing time, but he has also been said to leave his club.
He left his club, but I'm looking for his name. I think
Patrick Kadu, one of the names.
Patrick Kadu is the player I'm actually talking about. So I think it would be a good thing for him. But again, on Arua Hill releasing some players, I think again could open doors for Onduparaka to see if they can get some of those players. I honestly didn't think that Yakini will stay at Arua Hill. Yakini is not that type of a defender whom a coach like Charles Livingston Babasi would actually accommodate in his team. I think on another platform I said this, that he's one of those that I was expecting to be released alongside players like Simba Sabir, even Dan was one of them that I mentioned. The other defender, Kawoya, those are not the type of players that you would see who would be accommodated in a team being masterminded by Charles Livingston Babasi. He would fancy the likes of his favorite right back, I think, in this country is, if it was not Jerry Jackes, he talked about him a lot. The other one is this one who is now playing at Wakiso Giants, the one he took from Duparaka at Endele. Those are the type of players he actually likes.
But he has now two of the defenders at the right back, and of course the two Matovs are in that team who are of course training with the team of Arua Hill Sports Club. Now let's leave that there. Let's talk about Telvin. Last season he didn't play, and he is being linked with the move to Onduparaka Football Club. Would he add something into Onduparaka Football Club?
Well, I think all this depends on the coach who is going to come. If it was Dulu Bosco, I would have a lot to say about it. But right now, everything is up in the air. I honestly think Onduparaka to undergo a rebuilding process, they needed to start spending. Why they had built a strong team that lasted together is because that team started from somewhere. They started from the regional league, they came to the big league. You know, the team started growing, and when you have built a team that plays together, they understand each other. You look at how Pep Guardiola's team at Barcelona took a very long time. They won a lot even after when he had left. I look at the team Jose Mourinho assembled at Chelsea before he was first sacked. The team that Avram Grant came and picked from nowhere. I did believe Avram Grant was the best coach ever. But he took Chelsea to the Champions League final, lost to Manchester United. After they are part of that team, Roberto Di Matteo used that team, went with it to the Champions League final and won. So it's all about how you can rebuild a team. I would think the best, in my opinion, according to the coaches I have seen, if you want somebody who should come and reassemble a team, and the team that can really rebuild for the future, I don't think there's any other. There are few coaches in this country. One of them is the KCCA, the former KCCA Mutebi would have been one of them. But honestly, to start from zero, the best coach can go for is Mubiru. Abdallah Mubiru is one of the best coaches. Police Soccer Club playing one of the best brand of football. They play one of the best brand of football. It's just all up to him. Look at some of the names who have come under him. The likes of Alan Okello. He actually built most of this when he was at Chibuli. You know, Chibuli has been competing each and every time in Coca-Cola. They'll go up to the finals. Abdallah Mubiru was the mastermind behind that. The likes of Stevie. There was another player who one of the most disappointing players. Of course, he's called Stephen. He played at St. John's College, but they were scouted alongside the likes of Villa Oromchan. They went to Chibuli. He was actually putting Timothy Awani on bench, but because he was not so disciplined, he came and played for Lagos Central. Right now, I think he has quit football. But I think Abdallah Mubiru can assemble a very good team if given opportunity.
Now, of course, that is where we would want to cross over to. That is the game that was played yesterday. The 10-man Uganda Cranes held, of course, by that is held Mali to a goalless draw yesterday, and that was a very big one. If you look at that game, it was played before even it started. There was a storm of rain that came through, and of course Uganda still contained the pressure to make sure that they had to go in for a draw. Should we say maybe the Uganda team is trying their level best with the players that they having? 2 games, but you've not seen maybe the best
2
outcome
games, 2 points
that people would be expecting from Segovic, Mitchell.
2 games, 2 points. Somebody will ask, does that make any difference with when Mubiru was in charge? Does that make any difference? But all the same, I think from your point, it gave me a feeling that Uganda went into this as an underdog, because if you say Uganda held Mali, so that means the expectation was that Mali was supposed to run riot.
Of course, a better side
over Uganda. It is true they're a better side, but I think there's one thing we really ignore a lot in this country. I was actually following that team, honestly. The defense that was assembled. I struggled to believe whether he went for a back 4, but at one point I thought maybe he went for a back 3, because the way Joseph Ochoa was rolling around up and high the pitch, come back. Because when you look at defenders, Dennis Iguma, Isaac Mbulembe, Enoch Walusimbi, Murushidi Juko, Joseph Ochoa, it's someone look at 5 defenders at the back, but I don't think he can go for 5 defenders. Yeah. He can go for a back 3 with others flourishing as wing backs in the game. Then in the midfield, Khalid Awucho, Bobosi Biaruhanga. It brings us to the basics. When you're playing a back 3 and in the midfield, of course you hope that your wing backs will give you an edge, so that when you're in the attack, you have more bodies in the attack. You have more players supporting in the attack. You have numerical advantage when you are actually attacking. When you are defending, you have more bodies because you have 5 men sitting compact at the back. Then in the midfield, you have the Biaruhangas and the Kaldawushus trying to make sure that they make the midfield look very compact. And that is very necessary for each and every coach. In your tactics, you have to make sure when you don't have the ball, you need to sit compact. You don't need to give your opponents the opportunity to pass the ball and to expose your defense, which I thought was a plus. But again, in the transition, you have Emmanuel Anolokwi up front, and you also had I think Carissa was in that team. So how do you make the transition from the midfield to attack? Because I didn't see much more of the creativity in that midfield. So I think one other thing in this team of Uganda Cranes that we shouldn't be celebrating anything. According to the last 2 games that I've watched, I don't think there's anything we can really celebrate. We are still very far from thinking that we can qualify for the World Cup. Even if we are to qualify for the World Cup,
we're not ready.
We are not ready. If we are to be pictured maybe against Italy, one of the most tactically gifted side, you go and face a team like Germany. Maybe we are going to be looking at a whooping score. But again, are we even going to be able to make it? In my opinion, I don't think we are yet ready. And Uganda Cranes should be thinking of, because I think it's become a culture that we don't focus on building the young generation that can actually take us further. Look at how I keep referring to Ghana. The team they assembled, they invested in the youth setup. Those guys won the Under-19 World Cup. The same team transited from the under 23s. They went to the national team. They have stayed longer. The likes of the Ayus, Jordan Ayus and the brother. They had the likes of the Botengs in that, the Jonathan Mensahs, the Emma Ajemang Badus in that team. It gave them, and that team actually went further, and they have played in most of the players have flourished in one of the better sides in actually Europe. Under Jose Mourinho, Soleiman Montari was that amongst those who actually won the UEFA Champions League in that treble after he left Portsmouth. I mean, we don't even have right now. We don't have players who can go and compete outside. Look at this one who has actually been released from Turkey. This player was from Vipers, sold, and Vipers built St. Mary's with this money. So I think we are not yet ready because we are ignoring the basics. We don't just go and start looking at relying on pedigree. Right now, what is Emmanuel Anolok doing in Uganda Cranes team? What is he doing? Honestly speaking.
Let's look at that. But of course, one of the biggest stories in there, Uganda is still trying very much in. That is the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Of course, a very big one, 2022. Now, it's one of the biggest things that is happening right now. But of course, we're going to be taking a break. As when we come back, we'll be coming back with a very big story of that side at the Blues. As of course, Andy's Chelsea Football Club have suffered another big blow of the man by the names of Romelu Lukaku, who has been the new signing. And of course, his first game was against Arsenal Football Club. He threatened and of course tortured.
No, he played against boys. Because that's the same thing. When Alfred Leko came in onto the scene at Soccer Club Vipers, everyone thought that's the biggest thing in Ugandan football. You know, when you're playing against these young boys, you start pushing them around because you have that physique, you become a bully. But when you play real guys like Van Dijk, that's when let's
take a break. We'll be coming back to give you all this analysis of this. Could it be a very good one for Chelsea or no? And just know that we live on that is the Start Times, and you can stream us live on that is the same platform on YouTube, our YouTube channel, West Nile TV. But of course, on Start Times channel 477, you can still be a winner of any. Just keep commenting, keep liking, keep subscribing on our YouTube channel. Keep following us on Facebook, on Twitter, and at the same time on that very channel of the YouTube. Of course, I know for those who are streaming, you just have to click on that bell so that you will be one of the lucky winners anytime from now, right here with, of course, West Nile TV. It's the whistle time, and we take a break. We'll be right back.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back, and let's cross over to the international scene, as of course a lot is happening. And the biggest story right now we would want to of course come onto or start with is that of course Chelsea probably seeing that their star player, Romelu Lukaku, they bought him with hefty money, and of course the sum was too big for some people, and others say that was not really what he deserved, but others say that is what he deserved. So he's one player who played against Czech Republic after Belgium won 3-0 in there, and he had a knock, so he has a ligament, and he is supposed to go for a scan according to the reports coming in right there. So he has to leave Belgium, come back to England, and of course ahead of the game that is supposed to be on Saturday against Aston Villa. But of course the scan is one thing that will come and give the right information about whether he will be fit or no. But in case this is what will happen, and maybe say that he will be out for 3 weeks, what will Chelsea do? What does it mean for the other players also?
It will mean a very good news for Timo Werner. That is number one. I'm not saying that I am happy that he's injured because I know Chelsea fans will take offense, but I know when you are competing with fellow strikers, some of them will be waiting for your downfall, then they take advantage. But again, it's not a very good news for Team Chelsea. You've spent more than 19 million. In fact, to bring a player whom at least should be staying up fit, so that when you are going into big games week in week out, you need to have your goal poacher in every game. But him being out, I think is going to be again a blow. But I think Timo Werner should be able to be trusted by Thomas Tuchel, so that he can still take the team, because Lukaku alone can't do it. But in the event, you need to have one of your best strikers. I remember by then Chelsea had a very good strike force of there was Nicolas Anelka in that team. You had the likes of Didier Drogba still in that very team. There was Fernando Torres in that very team. So there was a lot of options. Daniel Sturridge. So there were a lot of options you could actually explore. If Didier Drogba, of course, he's going to start, but once he gets injured, there's another player who can step in and actually do something. At Manchester City under Roberto Mancini, he also had the same. There were the likes of Edin Dzeko, there was Sergio Kun Aguero, there was Carlos Tevez. So there was actually that bit of options where a coach would actually go and actually choose from, in case you don't have the person you think should start a game. Or it could also enable you to actually choose. If this one didn't perform in the previous game, you can actually make changes. So if you're going to be limited by options, it's not going to be a good thing. To me, the Red Devils, yes, he did well to go and represent them. That's the Belgian national team. But one of the things I've criticized about the team, I think this is the team that should have conquered Europe. But this is a team that has failed to conquer Europe even when they had the best players in the team. You have Eden Hazard in that team. You have the likes of Yannick Carrasco in that team. You have the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, one of the most creative players in Europe. To me, I don't think even Paul Pogba comes. If he's fit, I've always said this, Paul Pogba is not better than Kevin De Bruyne, because Kevin De Bruyne is evergreen to me. In the Euros, I expected them to have actually gone far. You have the likes of Romelu Lukaku, who's going to be looking for the goals for you. They still rely on at one point they were still calling Christian Benteke in that very team. You have the likes of Thomas Vermaelen, all the people you're still calling in that team. I mean, there's actually a lot. I expected them to be the golden generation right now. Now, I think the only task left for them is the World Cup in Qatar. If they don't win, I think Roberto Martinez could have failed alongside Thierry Henry. They should just all be sacked and leave that role to me. What I said is a big blow for Team Chelsea.
Okay, at Chelsea right now, as I talk, Christiansen is also on the verge of signing a new contract at Chelsea, and that's one of the biggest stories. But let me get back to you. Let's cross over to Spain. Gerard Piqué says that Mario Bartomeu, in his own look, was the worst president Barcelona has ever had. Do you agree with that?
One, it depends on what angle he was looking at him being the worst. It's not because he let go of Lionel Messi, but of course it was not within him. His hands were tied. Lionel Messi, I think at Barcelona he would have wished to stay longer, but it was affecting them that even Sergio Kun Aguero that they brought on a free transfer, they could not register him, and all the players had to take pay cuts, and Messi was willing to even take a pay cut, but still that amount of money was a lot. I think the person that to me has not performed well, in my opinion, is the La Liga president. He has really, to me, he's going to kill La Liga. That the financial fair play rule that has really applied in La Liga, to me, yes, it could give equity and fairness to even clubs without money, but still, I think the biggest names that would have actually been attracted to Barcelona who are attracted to the big clubs in Spain may not be willing, because I cannot go for something less. You can't tell me right now if Barcelona want Kevin De Bruyne. He's one of those who's earning like in 400,000. Barcelona may not be able to give you that money. Others just went because of the personal relationship they have with Ronald Koeman. A case in point is former United flop, who actually went and played with the Leo. That is Memphis Depay. He had to actually take a pay cut for him to be able to actually sign a deal. So I really think what is happening shouldn't only be blamed on the president of Barcelona, because right now they're not doing badly. They're on 7 points. Real Madrid is on 7 points. Sevilla is on 7 points. I don't think it's so far so bad for them. Even Athletic Madrid, defending champions, are on 7 points. The start is not so bad for Barcelona.
Okay, that's Barcelona. Now, of course, Arsenal Football Club is one name that has got at the deadline day signing by the names of Tech Hero. That is one player whom Zlatan did say, how do you bring for us Bruce Lee in the league? And one of the funniest story that kept running. But of course, right now as I talk, Arsenal's Willian is one man who said he was not happy at Arsenal. But if you look at the worst signings, he was one name that was said to be the worst signing in, that is the Arsenal squad. In fact, in the season of the transfer. Now, looking at this, do you see, because some key names in Arsenal are coming back for names like Thomas Partey, he's one name who will be available for the game against Norwich City. Would it send something to the Arsenal team before we cross over maybe to the United?
I would like to disagree that Willian was one of the worst signings for Team Arsenal. That's one of the best players the Premier League has ever seen. At Chelsea, he was one of the players, the most evergreen player I've ever witnessed at Chelsea. Ever since Chelsea signed him, he never dropped any form. Under any manager, he performed. I think the problem maybe was at Team Arsenal, because Mikel Arteta was still struggling to find his first team. Up to date, I think Mikel Arteta is not quite sure of who should be in my first team. And I thought you can't completely have a complete overhaul of a team. And that's one of the reasons why Mikel Arteta, if he doesn't get it right, I end up getting sacked. A player like Willian could be good for Team Arsenal, because you need that experience. He has ever played in the Champions League at the top level. He has ever won the Premier League. He has played in the FA Cup. That experience is needed. Now you're bringing the likes of Samuel Okongo, you're bringing the likes of this one that they bought for 30 million from Real Madrid. That is Martin Odegaard for 30 million. In terms of creativity and the statistics, if you were to put Martin Odegaard alongside Willian would far much be a better pick for me. Only that maybe Mikel Arteta didn't trust him enough. Look at how Mikel Arteta decided to leave Lucas Torreira to go on loan. Now you have only Partey in that midfield, and you know that the Egyptian, that is Mohamed Elneny, is not so much reliable in the midfield. So you needed a player like Lucas Torreira. He has had experience, by the way. He had gone to Athletic Madrid. He won the La Liga. So you need those type of players in your team. They may not be regular starters, but you need them in that very team. I was also looking at them. Of course, you look at players like Shaban, maybe those ones could leave. Up to now, I keep wondering, what is a player like Rob Holding still doing at Team Arsenal? A player like Rob Holding, what is he doing at Team Arsenal? So I think the problem is just at Team Arsenal, Arteta is yet taking long to get his team. And he's being blindfolded that he needs to have these young players in it to build a squad. Building a squad is on case by case. You don't just do a complete overhaul. I think Mikel Arteta only has a must win is against Norwich. If he doesn't get it right,
it's fine. Let's look at that. But of course, lastly, I want us to cross over to Manchester United after Ronaldo selling. Of course, in fact, he has got back, and Man U has got back the money that they had spent on him. And it is said that Manchester United will be paying these monies in 5 installments. So that's one of the biggest one too. Of course, the club, Juventus, in there. But Scott McTominay, Alex Telles are also back in the training for Manchester United. But of course, the talk comes to the man by the names of Donny van de Beek. He said he's very happy at Manchester United and he's not going anywhere because the coach, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has assured him of development and, of course, playtime. Maybe the time will come, he will put his best. But let's talk about the saga of the shirt. Finally, CR7 is, or Cristiano Ronaldo gets back his brand number 7, and Edison Cavani keeps it cool, and just number 21 is what he has got in there. What does it mean for Edison Cavani this season?
Edison Cavani is, I think he should be happy. Should be happy that he's going to be playing alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. There was no way I saw that he was going to retain the shirt number 7 when Cristiano Ronaldo is in the team. Because one of the reasons why United has decided to buy Cristiano Ronaldo is because, one, they want the fear factor. When you come out of the dressing room, you should have some names that opponents can really get moved to. Hey, I'm going to play against Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm going to play against Paul Pogba. I'm going to play against Jadon Sancho. Those names, those are the some of the names that are missing in Team Arsenal. When Arsenal players come out of the dressing room, sorry to be these Arsenal fans, but that's the truth. Gone are the days when you see Thomas Ruzicki coming from the dressing room, Cesc Fabregas, Alexander Leb. You see the likes of Emma Ade. You see the likes of Thomas Vermaelen, because by then he also he had a good stint. Lacazette.
What about Pepe?
Is Pepe really? Can Pepe really scan? Really? Yes, that money was paid on him, but I have not seen the best of him. So at Team Manchester United, that's one of the reasons they bought him, and they know that his trademark has always been that shirt number 7. Why he could not get that immediately at Real Madrid was because by that time Raul Albiol was still there, and he's the captain. He's a Spaniard in the first place, so you can't really do that. So until he left for Schalke Nufia, Cristiano Ronaldo that assumed the shirt number 7. He came to Juventus, got the shirt number 7. So he has been his trademark, and he's one of the best players in the world, and you're not going to run away from that. But United getting him and the money that they've already gotten out of his sale, I think is a plus for them. But one other area I think worry for Manchester United is in the deep line playmaking role. I thought the Paul Pogba should be sitting deep there, but he's always want to play to advance himself up. That's why most times they'll ever play him in the front three, or he will be on the wings behind a main striker. It could be on the flanks. Deep there, there's Scott McTominay, there's Fred, but they don't still do the deep playmaking role like at Chelsea. I keep referring to Chelsea because one of the most complete team we have in the Barclays Premier League is Chelsea. Either you have Nemanja N'Golo Kante, you have Jorginho, or you have Jorginho and Kovacic. It's still a good thing for me. Chelsea has in deep at the deep line playmaking role. There is no team that is better than Chelsea, and if you don't look at Chelsea, Liverpool has it. So United has that role there, that place that needs to be filled. Donny van de Beek should have left Manchester United at least for a loan, because you have McTominay is being picked ahead of you. You have Fred being picked ahead of you. Paul Pogba ahead of you. Even Nemanja Matic can even come ahead of you. So do you really think you have that chance to be playing regularly at Team Man U? I don't think so. To me, I think he should have been looking for something better. He could have opted for long moves elsewhere.
Okay, and now the English Premier League returns this very weekend, and it's going to be on 11th. That's when you will start watching all these games, and these games will be very, very interesting for you to follow with the Arsenal, of course, against Norwich City. That's where everyone will want to see whether Teta is going to be sacked or no. But Timo Pukki did say it's not an easy team that they are going to be facing. There is nothing to say that you underrate or undermine Arsenal Football Club. They're still a better side in there. The name is Arsenal, so you'll always have to get threatened. But that's one of the biggest things in there. So I want to say it's been a very good time and a very good pleasure.
To me, I also still think I need to congratulate you. because I think over the weekend I saw your bay being crowned. I think the second runner. That's a good thing. So I appreciate a brother where good things has happened from it.
Congratulations to all those who won, the likes of Opia, the likes of Bithum and Frida Lenia. Yeah, they had a very good run in the Miss Tourism West Nile, and it was a nice one. Probably they will always have in there, but of course we did see them in our morning session when they came representing, of course, right here, and it's one of the biggest things that will be coming in there. And congratulations to the organizers. But I want to say, I would feel like Nesi apariti mina manezula Maria channel suaziri aziri TV checking se mini udria misuzo start times Maria nesukini amadansi iyo drama tiba imibetualo askusi TV vawani ere amania akwa wediane nevina ferni adansi support kwa mengadri nesukini TV vawani machapa ria Maria dia nezo mini iyo chini lisu amavu West Nile awdiari amagiridi dia emini awdiari ne tedesinga ale fukulu, a brother from another mother, and a brother who of course should be telling the Luo people that we also have a TV like West Nile TV, and it's the whistle time. Oscar the Brazilian, just in a summary before we get off the hook.
Well, of course, sana dano cheke peli kusa peli ni peli kaneno whistle time mabini West Nile TV. Channel ite angwen abiro mabini le kubang ching nchako chinkasa shen tundu paka bir ching a beach man tundu paka ching apusieta ndano cheke kama chi ngenya opinu kama tugu madongo ndo chike timire iye wacho kari basho bisha kukupai da wabini bili lebi wakati bili pakwach man ke kari mukanda jumani kukabe mapol yuberi modar bini sidro mu NK West Nile TV wabi wiki ngoli dong mago miku ilembe cheke manyen omukadho maotimire ilemtugu.
More programming still coming up next, and this is Whistle Time. Once from the team of Whistle Time, thank you so much for watching. Stay hooked to West Nile TV.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.